Hey Dane, how you been, man? How's your week?
Oh man, great. Just blew some stuff up. 4th of July, had a great one. Got to go out and watch some men's fast pitch softball this weekend.
Oh
So it
yeah?
was a great weekend. So
Did
how
you
about
did you call the
yourself?
games? Well, I had some fun stuff too happen. We did the Windsor, our local baseball
Mm.
minor team. They had a get together where you could watch the fireworks from the stadium. They
Oh
had the
wow.
game on the Megatron. They were playing Tulsa, and I'm pretty sure they won. We left at the ninth inning, and then you walk outside, and there's like fireworks on all sides going off. Right, that was really cool.
Oh
Downtown
wow.
had music going. It was just a good way to watch other people
Yeah.
waste their money on fireworks while we just sit around and watch. So
Yeah, there you go.
uh, from now on, we're taking the kids downtown during fireworks, and we will not spend a dollar. So,
Oh, there you go.
um,
Perfect.
did you call the men's games this weekend, Dane, at all?
Yeah, I got to call a couple of games. I got to call the two championship games, which was
Nice.
a good time. I had a brother-in-law whose team actually won the tournament this year, and I think this is their second year they won it. So, really great team, really great weekend for softball, men's softball, and it's just something a spectacle to see. And to boot, it was out in a little town called Newton, Kansas,
Okay.
and this was the 75th annual, the longest running Mexican American fast pitch tournament.
Very
So it was a
special. I love it.
great time. Yeah, we loved it.
Well, speaking of champions, man, and special
Yeah,
events, we have a special champion on tonight.
yeah.
We saw her play, and it was bittersweet because we knew we were tracking her down. But there's a game they knocked WSU out of the tournament. This team and Courtney was there, and it was fun to see the athleticism no matter what. Like we're watching
Yeah,
this great game. We had actually talked afterwards to Sammy about it. We're like, man, what a game, right? So
yeah,
this champion here has spent 5 years in Nebraska from 2019 Dane through 2023. Get some of these stats. Talk about a champion. Comes in, freshman year, not bad. Pitches a 4.82 ERA. Has a little bit of a rough year during
yeah,
COVID, obviously.
yeah.
7.49. Then bounces back almost like a monster, like Vendetta. 2021 comes back at a 2.86 ERA as a pitcher
Mm,
in D1, and then 312
man,
and 350 to end her senior
yeah,
5-year career. Going on to be a GA, still working with the program, so still
yeah,
sticking around. Big Red, and obviously just a huge influence in the program, helping those up and comers, and just being all that you'd expect her to be and more. Just recently graduated, which is awesome, and just
yeah,
sticking around the program to keep giving back. So without any wasted time, Dane, I'm excited to bring on someone we've been tracking down forever, Courtney
yeah.
Wallace. Courtney, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent.
Excited. It's a big day for us. It's Christmas in July, Courtney. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Glad you're doing okay. Thanks for making time. I know you're busy. Congrats on the recent graduation. That's going to be a huge
yeah.
load off your shoulders, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I graduated in May of last year, actually,
Oh, okay,
with
Mm.
my
okay.
bachelor's, and then I'll graduate this upcoming May with my master's. So,
All
Oh
these
wow.
degrees, man. That's so cool.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, so I might hit you up if I for some of my paper. I'm going to school. I'm
yeah,
gonna hit you up for some help. So no, I'm excited to have you on. We've got some questions that Dane and I over the years have
Yeah,
cultivated with the audience that to kind of pick your brain about you as a player, athlete, human, and all that. And then we'll do a little fun segment called Rapid, and we'll end it on kind of a mantra, like to pick what makes Courtney Wallace tick, if you will.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
okay.
so Dane's gonna lead us off with that first one, Dane. Whenever you're ready, man.
yeah,
So
yeah. I just want to say congratulations on not only graduating with your master's, but also on your new position that you take with your alma mater. So we look forward to
Thank you.
you doing great things and keep continuing to build that team.
Thank you.
But we'll kind of go back to where it all started for you. At what age did you start playing this game of softball? And were you young? Did you do other sports with it, or at what year did you start this journey?
When I was like 5, I started at this rec team. It was called like Benson Little League. I didn't play like t-ball or anything like that. I think I went like right in the coach pitch.
Mm,
And I actually played rec for like a really long time. I didn't probably transfer over until I was like 12 or 13. And when I started playing summer ball, and like the first team I played for was the Echoes. And I was out of like Papillion. Um, and then I didn't play any other sports growing up until I played like basketball in 5th grade. It
yeah.
was a lot of running. I didn't like it. Like, never played again. And then I ran track in high school. For like 1 year, I made it to state finals in like in the 100. I got like 7th place or something like that, and then never played again or never ran track again. And then from there, it was kind of just like softball. But I started softball, when I was like 5 or 6. I didn't even start pitching until I was probably like 12 or 13.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at obviously going into softball, which it was something that made it stick for you, right? So you playing, dabbling with other pieces. I like me too. Us elite athletes, I dabble with backgammon and chess, right? So I'm just kidding. But like when you look at that elite like pitcher that you are, what stood out to you? Like, hey, this is my thing. I'm going to go into this kind of full time and focus on it. What made you go with softball? What was it?
I don't know if it was like one thing that made me like, okay, I'm gonna play this, or I was just like really athletic and I was like, yeah, it's kind of fun, And then even with pitching, I didn't really get serious about pitching probably until honestly I got to college. Like I was a utility player. I played third, I played short, I played in the outfield. I was like, I went wherever kind of my teams needed me at that time. I played like second base growing up. So I don't know if it was just like that's just what I went into, and I was competitive. I always say, like, me and my dad always say, like, I feel like softball found me. I didn't really find softball. There wasn't like a lot of people that played softball around us growing up. I wanted to go in gymnastics when I was a kid. And I think my dad just happened to like drive by a sign and saw him, was like, oh, we're gonna put you in softball. But like it wasn't, I feel like it genuinely found me. I didn't find softball.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Man, that's what a way to position it. Or a lot of our kids, name before you take the next one. A lot of our kids too have like said softball is kind of like their it's their passion, their hobby. I've got kids that tell me they look forward to softball more than they do their birthday. I'm like, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
They love it that much, right? Like, I get to celebrate my birthday. That's cool, but I also get to play in this tournament. So it's like that love and that passion where you almost have to. It is a match. Like you have to love it as much as it loves you, if you will. That's really cool. So go ahead, Dane.
Now, once you started playing the game of softball and you found yourself getting better and better and better, and I assume you started watching more and more games as you got better to kind of, help you along and improve your game?
Mm-hmm. Oh, like growing up, my dad, when I got into pitching, my dad would just sit me in front of a computer, YouTube, and I'd watch like Monica Abbott, Jenny Finch, Cat Osserman. I would just like watch these videos on repeat, and that's kind of how I taught myself to pitch. But I was always like a huge Natasha Watley fan. I always wanted to be a shortstop, and it just didn't work out, obviously, but thankfully it didn't. But yeah, I would just sit in front of the computer and just watch these YouTube videos, and then we kind of figured out what other, like, we had no idea what softball was. I'm just going to be honest. Like, no, it wasn't like we watched Nebraska games or like any of that. Like, I wanted to go to USC for softball when I was a kid, and USC doesn't even have a softball team. I just knew my dad was from California, and he wanted to go back home. So that's kind of how that happened.
Oh man, it's very thoughtful of somebody so young to do that.
That's cool.
So did those pitchers all influence you, or did you just kind of take something from each of those girls and say, okay, maybe I learned how to throw this pitch this way or that pitch that way? Or did you kind of just watch them and then say, I can do that, let me just go do it my own way?
Yeah, I think it was more of I kind of took something from each one, and then it was kind of like, okay, that's how you put your arm in a circle, and that's how you land and snap, and then it kind of just like kept going, and we just kept practicing in my garage. I put a lot of holes in the house, but it was worth it.
So what was your go-to pitch when you say you're at a 3-2 count or a 3-1 and you're trying to get back into the count, okay, I can throw this pitch, I'm the most confident with it. Which one would you say was your go-to?
When I was younger or in college?
Whenever you were in your college days.
Oh, probably just a fastball. I mean, I felt like I could control my fastball at all 3 levels, in and out. I feel like my changeup like consistently changed every year. I never had like a consistent one, but I would say like just my fastball was a pitch that I could throw and control it at whatever level I needed to.
That's awesome. My go-to pitch was always oh darn it, that was mine. Oh dang, it was me and 10 mile an hour. No, I'm kidding. No, I think that's it's cool to see, like you talked about YouTube, kind of this generation, and how it's easier than ever to access content. Like there's no if you have the drive, which you talked about, softball found you, the love, right, the drive of that. if you've got the drive and you've got a $10 tablet, you can become a pitcher or an athlete these days, right? So it's like you got to think about like how easy it is to access that, and then also to get found too. I think that's neat about now you're in a world where softball is making history. If you look at the attendance at Women's College World Series, we talk about this all the time, Dane and I, how softball is like the third fastest growing sport in there is. It's college football, basketball, and then women's college sports, which is why we do this women's softball. We love seeing how rapidly it's growing, and you're on that movement. Now you're coming back to help do some GA work, which is kind of my next question with the history and the groundswell. And obviously right now, Big Red's getting a lot of press. I think it's a big time, right, for Big Red. So whether it's as a student, maybe as in life, what you want to share, what's the next 12 months looking like for you now that you put the ball down the circle, you know?
I honestly, this is actually a good question. I had this conversation today with like one of our sports administrators. I think my biggest thing, I'm really excited to just sit back and kind of have a different lens. I know like when you're in it, I was a competitor. Like I want to win, and I don't want anyone else to talk to me about anything else unless it's about winning. Like that's what my drive was. And it was to like put Nebraska back on the map. That was my goal. And I didn't want to talk about anything else. So I'm really excited to just like sit back and see what I've done as like a captain and a leader to those girls that are still here, and just like how that can influence things moving forward, and just how I can be a help to them, not as their teammate essentially. And just what I can do from a coaching aspect. Is this really what I want to do? Do I want to coach? Do I want to be a mom when I coach? Do I want to just be this kind of coach? Like, I think this is that time for me to figure that out.
Cool.
Who I am as an adult, and not even just as a player anymore.
I think about you though, what's cool about your dynamic is the old saying, the see one, do one, teach one. So you saw it that made you what you are. You did it, and now you're going to be able to teach it. That's the whole, as Dana always say, the osmosis, right? The whole process is you're still fresh in the game, and now you're already giving back to others before you're really, I mean, you could, I think you should go pro, but that's just me as a fanboy, right? So all that, but you know, you get a chance to teach it as well. So that's really awesome. Dane, before I go into rapid, do you have any side nuggets on that or wisdom?
No, I was just taking it all in and take a couple of notes. I mean, is there a coach that you kind of bounce ideas off of, or that you've bounced ideas off of through your career there as you played at Nebraska?
Yeah, I think when we were like in that rebuilding period, there was a lot of different people that I had talked to. I mean, me and Liv Farrell and like Carly Severs, when we were named captain, there was no like, this is how you do it. We didn't have like that kind of program going up until that year. And I had talked to like Nicklin Hames, a volleyball player at Nebraska, that's a national winning program team. I had talked to Will Bolt at one point. I had talked to like just a lot of different people that I knew who knew what winning was, because we hadn't known what it was for a while. And whether that was, I feel like sports are very kind of all across the board. When it comes to winning, it's winning. And so I didn't really know any other softball players that I could personally call and be like, hey, how can you help me here? So I like used the resources that I had and talked to those people, but
I love it.
A lot of different athletes and coaches that I had spoke to about it.
That's awesome, man. I like Dan said, I make notes and I kind of process stuff and thinking about so far, it just, you learn how to do it on your own to an extent. We all have pitching coaches and all that stuff, right? I feel like that helps, but there has to be that drive amongst yourself first. And I think it's also too, Courtney, like your dynamic. It's cool that you didn't have to rely on pitching coaches. I think there's too much, as much as that's great and helpful, you had to still go out and just do it yourself. I know, Dane, you talk about our daughters both pitch, and every night your daughter's throwing 100 to 150 a night, Dane, every night. But it's like you have to, you can't be made to do it. You have to want to do it, right? You can't replace that. So you find that way to win. And I think, I'll be honest with you, Courtney, I think you're one of the big reasons why Big Red is on, and it's a great program, but the drive of what you've done, I mean, you have a stellar career that you can look back on. People like you are, I think, what made this program. I don't think it ever went, let's say, off the map, but you put it back in more of the limelight these days, if you will, by what you've done. So it's really cool. There's a little segment that we transition to every episode. The fans crack up. So they give us rando questions, and I'm talking weird stuff. Like, it's awkward. Okay. So we're going to give you some rando questions, Courtney, that you have to respond. You can't not answer one of these. You have to say one or the other. Okay. So first one, you're in a contest, and the rules are simple. You have to walk up to someone and blurt out movie lines from one of these two movies. Which movie can you quote more lines from? Matrix or Maze Runner?
Probably neither, but let's go Matrix.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, gotcha. Mr. Anderson, like it's Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, you're required to sing karaoke as the GA and the team captain, and you have to lead a toast, and you have to sing karaoke. So one of these two artists. Are you going karaoke with Britney or Taylor Swift?
Brittany.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
So I'm 1 for 1. By the way,
I missed that.
we bet on these, by the way. We bet. Dane and I do. The
Okay.
loser has to buy lunch. So right now I am actually
Okay.
2 for 2, Dane. I'm killing it. What do you got, Dane?
Oh man, I'm 1-1 here. 1-1.
Okay. So
It's
next
time
one.
for it's time for a comeback. Don't worry about it.
I got you on this one. This is a fan question, and this is where it's about to get weird. Here we go. So you're required to come back next season, and you have to throw the opening pitch. Okay, as is the legacy and all that, you have to throw the opening pitch for the opening game of the season. Now, what they didn't tell you is you have to put on one of these two Halloween outfits and throw the first pitch wearing one of these two suits. Okay, are you going to be wearing the Finding Nemo Halloween costume or the Jaws Halloween costume to throw your first pitch?
Probably Jaws. Say Jaws.
I want to get footage of this, Courtney. I expect it when you throw the first pitch.
Yeah,
I want to see the Jaws outfit. I want to hear the
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
And Baby Shark, the whole deal. Okay,
the music and everything. Oh yeah,
I did have you for Find Nemo though, so I got one wrong. Dane, did you get that one or?
No, I got that one wrong too.
You got that one wrong too.
Oh.
Okay, so next one. So you're doing a camp, right? You're teaching some 12s, right? Kids these days are a little bit more glued to their phones, things like this, right? So it's hard for them to look up from their phone. We just know this, right? So you're required to do a 12U camp, and you're responsible for them for the whole day, and you have to make them do 1-2 things. Okay, you have to make them either go without their phone for 12 hours or make every one of them start their own campfire. Like they have to learn to do start the fire, the whole thing. Like they got to do it all themselves. Make them do a campfire or go without their phone under your care. Which one are you choosing? I made her speechless, Dan.
Oh yeah, that's a tough.
I don't know if I could go without my phone.
I was
No phone, or they have to start a campfire before they can leave. Like every one of them's got to be able to strike the rocks and all that, and that's your goal as a team. Okay. I got that one wrong. So, Dave, did you get that one right?
I could do without my phone.
2. Okay, that's my second one right. I'm 2-2. All right.
Okay, last one. Okay, last one. So
this is for lunch. This is for lunch here now.
So you're going back to 5th grade. Go back with me in time for a second, okay? And you're in 5th grade, and you're required to do a juggling contest for your talent show, whether you can do it or not. Like, hey, this is your assignment. You've got to do it, okay? So they hand you 5 of these things. You have to go with either 5 crab apples, the ones that fall from the tree, or you got to go with 5 tennis balls, and you have to juggle it. Which ones are you going with?
Tennis balls.
Okay, I got that one wrong too. I don't know how, man, Dan, you must have got, okay. So I had you for the crab apples because it'd be a little bit easier to, like a softball. So, all right, I got that one wrong, Dane. So what'd you have, Dane?
3 for 5. I was,
Dane.
I'm starting to inch closer to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm the reigning champ.
Yeah.
So, Courtney, that's this little segment we do, just silly little thing that you probably wouldn't find in your stat sheets. Like they're not going to find Baby Shark on your stat sheet. So have a little fun with that. So, Dan, I'll give it back to you for the last little segment there.
Okay, Courtney. On this segment here, we call this the open mic, and we kind of open the floor up to our guests to kind of tell a little bit about their philosophy or a mantra they've carried through the years of their sport or the art that they do, that they kind of would like to maybe get out there and pass on to some of our younger viewers and listeners of our show, which is kind of what we're trying to do with, like Josh says, with osmosis. Is there a mantra or a philosophy that you've carried that you can pass on to the next group of girls coming through or next group of athletes coming through that may help them along with when times are maybe tough or they need just that little pep?
Yeah, I think I would say I have 2. One of them's not really a mantra, but my first one, I remember when I was growing up, my dad would always ask me. He'd just be like, do you want to be the best or do you want to be like everyone else? Do you want to be the best or do you want to be like everyone else? Like the days that I didn't want to go work out, the days I didn't want to get up and go pitch or throw or hit or do any of that, he would just always ask me that. And every day, even when I got to college and I would just be laying in my bed, not doing anything, I was like, do I want to be good or do I not want to be? Like, do I want to be the best or do I want to be like everyone else? So then I'd get up and go hit for 15 minutes. I mean, it wasn't a long period of time, but at least I did something,
Mm-hmm.
And then I think my second one, the older I've gotten, I would say probably after like my sophomore, junior, probably after COVID. I think something that was really important to me, I don't know about everyone else, but it mattered to me more how the relationships that I had built with my teammates than anything. Like the winning, it was always there. Like we always wanted to win, but I had realized during those little periods when we kind of weren't, like Nebraska wasn't doing good, I had no like real relationships with my teammates. And the older I got, that mattered to me more than anything. Like we would switch roommates every weekend in a different hotel wherever we went.
That's cool.
And I made sure to have genuine conversations with my teammates. At least I always felt when I left the program that they could take one thing from me that I said to them that mattered. Or I could take something from them that mattered, regardless of whether we were getting our butts kicked that weekend, whether we were winning, whether it was just like rough, we're going 0 for 20, like anything. I just made sure that I had like valuable information that I could give to them or they could give to me.
Wow.
Dane, I think about this honestly, Courtney, and I'm 37, and I know we've got a few years on you, a lot. That's a wise thing for someone your age to say, because it's such a digital world that we live in, and such a time where we don't really focus on people. It's information, but not people. It's like, wow, people to make it intentional. Hey, it's a game we have, but I want to talk about you. What's going on in your life, and like making them engage with you. That helps people, even if they don't want to. Like if you're in a bad mood, it's like, man, my teammates helped me. That's really kind of cool, so wow. I can't really put into words, Zane, what I want to say, but that's impactful. Like, hey, how are you doing? Actually talking to someone. Old school back in the day, Courtney, when me and Dane were growing up, they'd be like, the rocking chair thing is what we call it. Like sit on the porch and have them just sitting around the porch and just talking, right? Having a little sandwich and talking on the porch. That's what I did growing up with my grandpa. Not that you know what I'm saying, but like that whole let's talk type of thing. That's really cool. Wow. So Dane, what do you add to that, Dane? That's really cool.
Much along those same lines, like you said, for somebody your age to say that, I just had a conversation about that with a couple of friends this weekend, saying, whenever you're a kid, everything's about as deep as a puddle. And then as you grow and learn and talk to people that are older, one of the things that you do as you get older is you start to listen. And you start to, they start to take something from each conversation you have from people. And then now you have a little bit more depth, and then you can talk to your peers and your teammates or whoever it is, your friends, and you can bounce things off each other because you're not worried about how you say it in front of your friends. You just talk. Whereas when you're young and you're an adult or talking to an adult, you're kind of, reluctant, or you're kind of shy about bringing out your true feelings because you can't express them. But like you said, I mean, somebody your age to say that, to say, I want you to take something from me, I'll take something from you, and we both can grow from it.
That's good.
And learn, like we say, for osmosis, it works at every level. So to hear you say something like that, to me, makes me feel good. Like we say, makes me know that this sport is in great hands with people like you that are getting ready to go to that other venture that you're going to do with a graduate assistant to pass these kind of things on to them. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Well, Courtney, and I'll say, even just like the interview with you, and we'll kind of close it on this, but I like how it's very clear. When I first started talking to you last week, and I've talked to thousands of people, and like I was excited to talk to you, and you're just listening, just like this right here. It's like, it's cool. Like you're just so calm and like the listening thing, they say that's why God gave us one mouth and two ears, right? That way it's like twice the amount of listening. So just to know that, I can't wait to see what you do with the program. I feel like you guys are going to be, to be honest, you're going to be one of those. I can't wait to see at the World Series. I think it's going to happen. I think it's that type of a year for you guys. So I would expect nothing less. Are you guys doing fall ball, any tournaments at all, or like a few here and there for Big Red? Or?
I think they are. Most of the time we don't travel for fall, but I mean, I don't know now. Everything's kind of hectic right now. I don't know what's going to happen or what they're going to do, but usually they're at home.
Good.
Okay.
Well, we'll be watching. Like I said, anytime something, please stay in touch. We'd love to have you. It's always an open invitation. You're part of the alum now. We're maybe the Dane and Josh alum, so I'd love to have you back on. So we'll be cheering you on again. Congrats in your personal endeavors and as a coach and as your stellar career and just all the things that we took from you. I know we learned more than you did, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Definitely.
Congrats on the next step, and we'll make sure to be in touch very soon. Okay. So
thank you so much, guys.
Of course, Courtney. You have a good night, Courtney. We'll see you soon. Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
So Dan, I'm telling you, man, every time we pick these, it's almost like there's this drawing thing. What'd you think of her, man? Crazy, huh?
Yeah. Whenever we pick somebody, you think I'm going to learn something. Then inevitably, it's one of those things like jackpot, man. You take something from her and you think I'm a little bit smarter now. And I know how to look at things in her perspective, even if it's just a little bit. You'll look at things a way that you've never thought of. So that's what I love about talking to athletes like her and people like her that are developing and wanting to learn more as they go, and at the same time pass on what they've learned.
Man, that was awesome. No wonder she did so well. And talk about think about that comeback for a second. I keep going back to, even though it was a COVID year, 7.5, man, to then drop to 2.89. Dude, just she took on every lesson.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love it. I mean, when you're learning, it's not just the life lesson you learn. It's everything. Curriculum, sport, anything you can learn. You can learn from anywhere and everywhere, from anyone and everyone, as I was taught. So that
was a good one, man. That was a good one. So we had Cora start off tonight, and then we had Courtney, which we're excited. Everybody's always it's like another notch of like awesomeness, right? And we have one more tonight. We've got an awesome elite athlete / trainer / coach coming up here at 9, coming to us from Arizona tonight, Kaylee Winslow. You're gonna love Kaylee. Kaylee is as competitive as they come. Like I love I've talked to Kaylee many times, and I love picking Kaylee's mind on, hey, what do you think about this scenario in sports or that, right? And Kaylee is just driven as they come, man. So the final one of the night, you're gonna you're gonna love the dialogue that we have, and I think you're going to leave inspired. Courtney left us inspired. Cora, and I know Kayla will do nothing less. Dane, speaking of which, this weekend's looking pretty crazy, Dane. We finally dropped the announcement. You guys, Sunday, we're Oklahoma fans, right? So Sunday, Mr. OU stops by. Love that guy. Just a heartwarming sensation, right? And then the creme de la creme of coaching, right? And I won't take away from anybody else, right? But there was a little World Series appearance by a lady named Lonnie Alameda, Dane. So we got Coach Lonnie stopping by Sunday. It's going to be crazy. So I canceled my plans. I decided I was not going to mow the yard that day because I'm going to spend all my time focusing on Lonnie. So so guys, we got one more. We'll be back at 9 for the final one of the night. So thanks for sticking with us, Courtney. Thank you again. Come back anytime. Cora, thank you. As we always say, don't forget that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.
Okay. So I'm off the air, dude. So